what's next for you? Like you're on this journey, you're having this transformation, you're encountering God. Like where are things headed for you, do you think? Just anywhere spiritually. I know you're out in Vegas, you were here in DC. Like what's going on? It's been such an excitement to have you in group and you bring this like amazing story to our group.
Yeah. Thank you for having me in the group. It's been nice that the group has offered. I've never been around so many people who are same-sex attracted and consider themselves Christians. I've never put those two together. So the group was the most vulnerable that I was able to be around this topic and discussion. I've never spoke so openly about it, and that group really allowed me to do so. So I'm grateful for that. Um, when I say I came to meet Jesus back in December, I was actually working at a gay bar for the last 6 years. So I just turned 28. Or not just turned, but back in December 2020, I turned 28. But I got hired at the bar right after turning 22. So a huge chunk of my 20s were just, I just literally, if I could go back to my teenage years, my dad, he was pretty conservative on the whole like dating thing. So I also had two brothers, and I that actually played in my favor because there was like no one allowed to go have girls or meet girls or whatever. So I'm like, okay, like no one's allowed to date, so this is good. So I would just always question like, how is this going to play out in the long run? Like, what would this look like when I'm like 30, 40, 50? Like, am I going to die alone? Like, what am I going to have to just exclude myself from the family? So that helped for the teenage years that my dad's like, you're not allowed to date till you get a job or this, and this. So it wasn't weird for me to not show any interest in girls all the way up until 18 because my brothers also were not doing, were the same. They weren't doing that. Um, so as soon as I turned 18, something just clicked where I was like, if I become independent, then no one can tell me what to do. If I can provide for myself, then I can just do my own thing. So of course I started working and got my own apartment and everything. And even then the words to actually speak like I'm gay were pretty hard to get out. Um, but I still knew like at least my dad wouldn't like beat me or something for it. Like I'm in my own place with my own money. And for about from like 18 to 20 and 21ish, I spent time in like Maryland just working. And I actually had a job where at Spencer's in the mall. I don't know if you guys know what that is, but you go to the back and you're like, ooh, what is this? And that was the first job where there was like there were other gay people, and it just felt like this. It felt refreshing. I was there to work. I was getting money. I was young. There were people who just could see me for who I was, and I felt really accepted and nice. And one day, I believe a guy who worked there, he actually invited me to go to. He was like, "Do you want to come to DC? There's a gay club town, if you guys know of it." He was like, "We can go there." And my family, they're from DC, so even though I was out in Maryland, I kind of hated DC because we grew up in Southeast back in the '90s, so there wasn't much. But he invited me to town, and that it was life changing. I was like, this is where I've been, where I should be at. Like it was the first time I was around. I felt so accepted. There were so many other people like myself, and instantly, I have an aunt who lives in DC. She had a room available, and I asked if I could move in with her, and she said yes. And so here I am, like 21, just moved to DC, and I'm just like, I didn't know DC had all this to offer because as a child, I was only in Southeast, like doing, you know, 12-year-old things. And now I'm 21 and like Northwest DC. And it was just like a playground. Like I didn't even know what DuPont Circle was. Like it was all fascinating. And so I actually yeah, got a job at the gay bar and just worked there ever since. And I think it over the years it was a blessing that turned into a burden. You know,
Mm.
there's a lot of things like the over sexualization of that scene and all the drug use. There was a lot of freedom, but like I said, at December 2020, I think my spirit just was like, I'm not allowing you to go into 2021 with this same like, you know, and I just thinking like John 15, how it says, like, I didn't choose God, he chose me. So to think that like the creator of the universe like called me out of something. And so when you ask, you know, what does the future look like for me? I think in a lot of ways I'm hopeful about the future in multiple ways. Like I said, I came out of working at a gay bar for 6 years. During my time at the bar, I knew that I needed to pick up another skill set. I just wanted some type of mental stimulation. So I actually became a massage therapist during my time working at the bar. So I have a job lined up for August. But I really think, and I'm so blessed that God has allowed me to take so much time off to reconnect with Him and to learn who He is and to get into His Word. And you know, I haven't worked since December 20, even though I have a job lined up in August, but I've just really taken this time to learn who God is. And like I said, I didn't really know who this Jesus character was when I was in my new age type of thinking. I was like, oh, he's like Buddha and he's just like this enlightened master. And like we can all reach this state of higher elevation and all that stuff. But now I realize that Jesus was the advocate. He's the bridge that reconciles me with God the Father, and He's, you know, what allows He. I've been bought with the price, and my spirit and my life is no longer mine, but it's Jesus. And I realize that He's saved me, and He's my sanctification. So I just come into a completely new understanding of what it is to be a Christian, a Christ follower, and I don't think I would have ever come to any of this if I'm still, you know, working in a bar, having to take shots and this, and this. So I really think that God has allowed all this time for me to just sit and not only being reconciled with God the Father, but actually my like earthly father too, you know, because him and I have always been good, but there was always that elephant in the room. Even our phone conversations will only be about 10 minutes. I love you too. Where are you? Da da da. But you know, back in December, I actually had dinner with him and came out to him face to face because I've had made like Facebook posts and alluded around the question and everything. But there was also something in me that knew that I didn't want any barrier to God the Father. So I knew that there needed to also be restoration with me and my earthly father. And there was this huge want for me to have complete honesty with my parents. And I knew that, you know, the Bible says honor them. So I just wanted them to know, like, I'm your son. This is what I'm struggling with. But I also have this desire to know who Jesus is and to just get their blessing. And, you know, my father and I had a super healing conversation. And at dinner, when I came out to him, he was like, Sean, I've always known. And he laughed. And he said, I love you. I'm no one to judge you. And that's between you and God. And I literally felt like years of just guck fall off of me and like wash off of me. And I feel like that was the green light to open up the Bible and not view it from any lens of like anger or this or this. It was just like, I believe God is real and I believe that He is the Word and the Word is true to what it says. And that's what led me to my convictions. And, you know, so I'm not rushing the future. I'm just happy for this day. By the grace of God, I'm alive. But um, you know, through prayer time and developing a relationship with Jesus, because that's what it's about, not just religion, but like an actual relationship with the God who speaks back to you. Um, you know, He has given me vision of what my future looks like. He has given me ideas and just put things in my spirit that there's going to be a birthing process where I'll have to lean on the Holy Spirit to bring forth. But I'm just really hopeful with the future. I know we're speaking about sexuality, but even, I have siblings who I think we all kind of rested on, oh, when we were 8, we went to church, but that's not necessarily secures your salvation. So I haven't seen them in months. I have a brother in Texas. I have a brother who just recently got out of jail. So even what the future looks like for the family, like bringing restoration, like no more secrets, like let's all just share meals and be honest with each other, and even sharing the gospel with them. So I know there's even my family depends on my yes to God. So um, I'm just excited for the future. I'm excited to see my family. I've never seen my family since coming into these convictions. So yeah, I'm just excited overall. There's nothing in stone like, oh, I'm doing this, this, and this, but I now look toward the future with hope.